All right. Good morning, everybody. We're here on the beautiful Greek island Delos. I have been here. I went to Mykonos and I took a day trip over here to Delos, which is really close by. There are two laws here that are very important. One is you can never be born on Delos. No one is allowed to be born on Delos, and no one is allowed to die on Delos. Those laws are in the books right now. So behind me, you see one palm tree. It is the only palm tree on this entire island. Um, and I've taken a picture. I've taken a picture of it before in the past. I wish I was looking for my picture. I couldn't find it, so I used this one. Um, and we will explain why there's only one palm tree on this island. But it is true, there is only one palm tree on this island. You can see behind me also there are some lion statues that in ancient days, when this was a very bustling, busy island, um, very wealthy island, they had these statue lions all the way down the main boulevard, the main road in Delos. Okay, so I'm going to read, we've already read about Zeus, Hera, Hephaestus, Aphrodite, Ares, and Athena. Today we're going to do Poseidon, and then Apollo. Apollo has a twin that we'll get to tomorrow, a twin sister. Okay, so anyway, let's move on and go to Poseidon on page 40 or 38, I think, 38, if you're following along at home. Okay, so here we go, Poseidon. Poseidon, lord of the sea, was a moody and violent god. His fierce blue eyes pierced the haze, and his sea blue hair streamed out behind him. He was called the earth shaker, for when he struck the ground with his trident, the earth trembled and split open. When he struck the sea, waves rose mountain high, and the winds howled, wrecking ships and drowning those who lived on the shores. But when he was in a calm mood, he would stretch out his hand and still the sea and raise new lands out of the water. So it's his job to kind of create new islands. In the days of Cronus and the Titans, the sea was ruled by Nereus, son of Mother Earth and Pontus, the seas. Nereus was an old sea god with a long gray beard and a fish tail, and was the father of 50 sea nymphs, the lovely Nereids. When Poseidon, the Olympian, came to take over the kingdom of the sea, kind old Nereus gave him his daughter Amphitrite for his queen, and retired to an underwater grotto. He gave the new king and queen his palace at the bottom of the sea. It was made of the palest gold and lay in a garden of corals and shimmering pearls. There Amphitrite lived contentedly, surrounded by her 49 Nereid sisters. She had an only son whose name was Triton. He had a fish tail instead of legs like his grandfather Nereus, and rode about on the back of a sea monster, trumpeting on a conch shell. Poseidon was rarely at home. He was a restless god and loved to race the waves with his team of snow-white horses. It was said that he had created the horse in the shape of breaking waves. Like his brother Zeus, Poseidon had many wives and many children, but Amphitrite was not jealous like Hera. All right. And then one of the islands that Poseidon raised out of the sea was Delos, the one I'm on right now. It was so newly created that it was still floating about on the water. The little island was barren. Nothing grew on it except a single palm tree right behind me. In its shade, the two great gods, Apollo and Artemis, were to be born. Zeus had married the goddess Leto, and when Hera found out that Leto was expecting twins, she flew into a jealous rage and ordered all the lands in the world to refuse Leto's shelter. Chased away from every land, poor Leto wandered from place to place and could not rest to give birth to her twins. So here she is pregnant with twins, and she has to walk around, sail around, go around, and everybody saying, nope, you can't have your twins here. Nope, you can't have your babies here. Nope. That's pretty painful, I would say. pretty painful and really mean. At last she came to Delos, this little island here. And the little island welcomed her. Since it was still floating and not quite land, it was free from Hera's bidding. Exhausted, Leto sank down in the shade of the palm tree. But still she could not give birth to her twins, for Hera forbade Ilithyia, the goddess of childbirth, to go near her. Without her help, no child could be born. All the other goddesses felt sorry for Leto and tried to sway Hera by offering her a beautiful necklace. It was 9 yards long, made of gold and amber, and Hera could not resist it. She let Ilithyia go, and Iris whisked her down the rainbow to Leto. Leto's first child was Artemis, a girl as beautiful as the moon, with hair as dark as the night. She was to be the goddess of the hunt and all newborn creatures. Then Apollo came into the world. He was fair as the sun, and he was to be the god of music, light, and reason. Zeus was filled with joy at the sight of his beautiful twins, and he gave them each a silver bow and a quiver full of arrows. The arrows of Artemis were soft as moonbeams and brought painless death. Those of Apollo were hard and piercing as the rays of the sun. Zeus blessed the little island and fastened it to the bottom of the sea. Grass and flowers burst forth from the barren ground, and Delos became the richest of all the Greek islands. Pilgrims flocked to it and loaded it with temples and treasures to honor Leto and her twins. And it is true, you can't see it from this background, but there are an incredible amount of wildflowers here. I have a lot of good pictures of that when I was here. All right, so let's go to Apollo after their birth, because that was the story of the birth of Apollo and his twin sister Artemis. All right. Apollo grew rapidly, as all gods did, and when he was full grown, Zeus sent him off in a chariot drawn by white swans to win for himself the oracle of Delphi. Some people say Delphi, some people say Delphi. And an oracle is like a fortune teller. It tells the future. No place in Greece was as sacred as Delphi. On the steep slopes of Mount Parnassus, sulfurous fumes rose from the deep cleft in the mountainside. A Sibyl, the priestess of Delphi, sat on a tripod over the cleft, and the vapors put her into a magical sleep. In her dreams, the Sibyl heard the voice of Mother Earth coming up from the depths and repeated the mystic words she heard. Priests stood around the Sibyl and explained the meaning of her muttered prophecies to the pilgrims who had come to the oracle of Delphi to learn about their future. The oracle was guarded by the darksome dragon Python, who lay coiled around the sacred place. Old age had made him mean and so ill-tempered that the nymphs fled from the sacred spring nearby, and the birds no longer dared to sing in the trees. The oracle had warned Python that Leto's son would one day destroy him. He had tried to devour Leto when she wandered about looking for a place to give birth to her children, but she had escaped. When the old black dragon saw radiant Apollo flying toward him in his golden chariot, he knew that his last hour had come. But he sold his life dearly. He unleashed his fury, spitting fire and venom, and his black scaly body did not stop its writhing and coiling until Apollo had shot him with 1,000 of his silver shafts. In torrents did the dragon's venom flow down the mountainside, and the oracle of Delphi was Apollo's. Now there was light and joy on the once somber slopes of Mount Parnassus. The air was filled with sweet tunes as the birds in the sky and the nymphs of the sacred spring returned to sing Apollo's praises. The voice of the young god rose above all the others, for he was also the god of music. Okay, so that is that. I did not go to Mount Parnassus when I was in Greece. I wish I had. Maybe next time I'm there, I will. And Please enjoy the rest of your day. We will get to know Apollo's twin sister Artemis tomorrow. Okay, until then, please take care of yourself. Bye-bye.